I am DeRoy Cruz. I am your life applications officer. Yeah. I'm going to say this one more time, and then I'm going to tell you every time after this when I feel that someone brings up the idea that I hate my own people, or that I'm a racist or whatever. I'm going to refer you to this video right here. I'm going to send you the link. Okay? I don't hate my people. I don't hate my race. If I woke up white, I'd ask God to put me back in. Okay? Um, I was raised by a black mom, a black grandmother who was actually kind of biracial. Both sides, all my grandmother's kids are black. Okay? I started out as a child um, being taught by one part of my life. See, this is the beauty of it. There's two parts of my life. There was a life that was pro um, away from the streets, away from street politics, away from, you know, um, the mindset of street people, the mindset of people that aren't on the inside of anything that's positive. They're just out there on the outside looking in, wondering where they fit in. But yet, when you give them an opportunity to fit in, they don't want to fit in. Okay? They think it's racist for you to say, hey, this is how you fit in. Okay? Um, I've had those two sides in my life. I've had the rich and the poor. I've had the street people and the church people. I've had, you know, black culture versus white culture. Um, I've been there. I know what's going on. I know what is going on here. I know. I know what's going on. Let me throw this in there. The worst thing that white people have ever done in history is right now. When white people begin to sell out other white people that are actually innocent of this whole thing. They're actually innocent. Number one. When they sell out other white people and call white people racist, when white people call other white people racist, especially when it's a political thing, when it's, you know, within among of the parties, okay? You have been deceived. You have been shot with some kind of Spanish fly, some kind of, you know, um, some kind of ooh-weed, some kind of Schumann stick. They done caused you to lose your mind. So let me get this straight. Black folks hate white people except Democrats. You hate all white people except Democrats? Is that what's going on? So you're telling me that none of those cops that are shooting, I heard this the other day at work. Somebody said this to me at work. I'm like, you need to prove that, man. But you mean to tell me that All those cops out there that are shooting black folks. Um, you're telling me that all of them were Republicans? All those cops that were shooting these black people, 60 shots in the back of the last episode we had that they were marching for. Okay, you're telling me that those were all Republicans. That's why they shot this guy, because they were all white Republicans. How do you separate the non-racists from the racists? How do you know which white people are non-racist and which ones are really racist? Donald Trump's racist because, I don't know, let me think. He's racist because the first thing came out of his mouth was the border wall, they call it. He's racist because he said things about other immigrants. He didn't say anything about black folks, if I recall correctly. He said things about other immigrants. Like, I told this guy yesterday, I had an argument yesterday with a friend of mine. I like to call him my friend. I'll call him my friend. He said the dumbest thing. And I says, you know, about the border wall and all like that. First of all, he said that because Trump wanted to because Trump was trying to build the wall. That was racism against black folks. Okay, do you understand what the term black means? And it doesn't apply to all blacks. That's why you got two of them there when you apply for a job or whatever. They ask you, are you Hispanic? Three of them actually. They ask you, are you Hispanic? Are you black or African American? And then now they ask you how you identify yourself. Do you identify as Hispanic, black, African, African American? You know, there's 3 or 4 of them there now. I thought that all the black people were already here. There's no black people coming from Mexico or being, you know, prohibited from coming here from Mexico. I thought Mexicans were Mexicans. And I know there's other races, as they were trying to correct me yesterday too, that are coming through that wall other than Mexicans. They're coming in there with the Mexicans. And I understand that a lot of these Mexicans are, you know, bad people. And I'm not trying to sound like Trump, but in order to get over here into this country and you know, do some cartel crap and run drugs and have the powerhouse over in Mexico, you can't come in here through customs. You can't come in here on a plane. You had to cross the border. You had to sneak across the border. Ain't nobody gonna let you come in here by airport and you don't want nobody to know your name. You don't have anything to match your name. You got code names and street names. Come on, man. You'll never get through the airport. You'll get arrested at the airport. You have an ID. This is what I told this guy though. I says, first of all, there was a white guy there too. I looked at this white guy. I looked at him like, is this guy off his rocker? The border wall has no effing thing to do with black people. Oh my God. Not, it doesn't have zero to do with black people. I get so sick and tired of black people putting themselves in crap that ain't their business. And then they want to call it racism. Stay away from that border wall, black people. Stay away from trying to claim that somebody's calling somebody else, you know, being racist towards somebody else. Worry about your own crap. You want to be Mexico so bad, move your butt to Mexico, okay? Become a resident, strip yourself of your American credentials and your American ID and your American status and everything else. Go over there to Mexico. And when you come over here and try to cross the border, I'll be glad to shoot you down like a Mexican. Just trying to cross the border illegally. Mind your own business. It ain't got nothing to do with you. I wanted to scream at this guy. So I told him, I said, let me tell you something. You need to get around more, bro. I got Puerto Rican friends. And I said this in another video. I got Puerto Rican friends that are Democrats. They don't want certain Mexicans coming into the U.S. They don't want them in here. Because they know what they're about. They got kids by some of these Mexicans. They fled here legally because of the crap that is coming across that wall. I got Puerto Rican friends, and I met Latinos. That you say the word Mexican, they make sure there's a distinction. And they let you know they're fine with keeping Mexico over there. Because they're not the same thing. And there's a big difference between, and there are good Mexicans in this country. And there's a big difference. Ask a Mexican that is legal, that has raised his family in here legally and brought them up through regular customs. Ask them. There's a fine line between coming in here legally and illegally. That's enough of that. Fine line. Big fine line. And it ain't got nothing to do with no goddamn black people. Oh, Trump's a racist because, see, he tried to build the border wall. And I'm like, why is he trying to enclose us or keep us out? Oh my God. Brother, I didn't know you was Mexican. Neither did I know you was part of a cartel or anything like that. I didn't know you was illegal, bruh. Do I need to go find a legal Mexican to correct you on these issues? Let's go find a real Mexican. A real Mexican from real Mexico that didn't cross the border. He came here legally. Let's go find one. So he can tell you to stick your head back up your butthole. Because you're so stupid. Don't even come to me with that kind of rhetoric. This is where I begin to want my space between me and black people. This is where I begin. When you busy preaching racism, calling yourself a Democrat, always talking about there ain't enough black people working here, there are not enough black people in leadership, you're tired of black folks getting shot, and all like this, but out of the same mouth, when you're a Democrat, you want to talk about guns, and you want to talk about the military, and you want to talk about your rights as a soldier, and you want to talk about your right to bear arms, and you want to talk about, you know what I'm saying, loving everybody and all like that. Well, bro, you got a policy for that love, man. That love is all under policy. You can't see that? You have yet to be a real Democrat, because the Democrats have to make good excuses why we should let these people over here illegally. And then he made up dumb stuff like no other countries have borders. We're the only countries that has borders. Oh, so I can just drive up here to Canada, which is not too far from me. Not too far from me. I'm probably closer to Canada than everybody watching this video. Okay, I can be in Canada in less than a day. Okay. So I got to go up to Canada, and I got to go through a what? What is that thing? Is it a wall? Is it a border? I got to show some ID. Not only that, I have to have a passport. And they're going to check my luggage and everything. There's certain things I cannot bring into Canada. Like I probably can't bring my gun into Canada. They're probably going to confiscate it until I come back. What are you talking about? No other countries have borders but us. It's just some Trump crap. That's one thing. Here's the other thing. I've never heard an Arab person, an Indian person, an Asian person, a Mexican person complain about what color the President of the United States is, or felt that they needed a Mexican president or an Asian president or you know what I'm saying? Until they put Obama in there. Now there's people coming out saying maybe we ought to try to get a Mexican president in there. Maybe we should try to get an Arab president in there. There's enough Russians in the United States. Why can't we put a Russian president in there? All because of Barack Obama. But before that, wasn't nobody worried about it. Yeah, we're used to white people. Let me tell you something. Y'all don't know nothing about, this goes all the way back to the Bible. And y'all want to try to claim that war is over and war should never be again, and that, you know, all these wars and what happened to Native Americans and blah 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 blah, all these different countries, put any type of race that is a shadow of white skin in there and blame it all on white people just because they got the same skin, just because they were called something else back then but they're white today or whatever. Okay, just blame it all on white people. Going all the way back in time, just blame it all on white people. Okay? But let me tell you something. My Bible shows me that when you broaden your territories, they're your territories. It is now your territory. When you broaden your territory, it is now your territory. So white folks, whatever they did right or wrong, and there's more to it than what most of these schools are saying, most of these, you know, how you gonna write a book about the Native Americans in 2022? Native Americans didn't start existing in 2022. How long they how long they been in this country? And how long have they been on this planet? You want to write a book in 2022 about Native Americans and what? Educate us all. No, you're not. Because there's bound to be some holes in your story when you wait this late to write a book about it. But even if so, even if they purposely put some disease on the Native Americans to control them, which I don't think they need to do that, even if they did steal something from the Native Americans, they broadened their territory. So now it all belongs to them. It's called war. It's called strategy. I'm not saying that it's good. Nobody called it good when the Christians did it in the Bible. But it needed to be done if you want to broaden your territory. And we didn't start complaining about this until what? Over the last 20 years. You know, if you had said this 20 years ago, you know, you went and took this from the Native Americans, you would have been like, so? Okay? Okay? It's ours. We took it. It's ours. Back then, you didn't buy the land. You took it. You might buy it today. But why do we need to have, what's going to happen to Ukraine if Putin completely abolishes it? Common sense tells me he's going to take it over and make it part of Russia. Russia is going to own that territory. I think America should take over Mexico and make that our territory. Since we keep every election, we got to fight over how many are coming over and how many can't come over all the time. And then, you know, you're letting all the stuff go on in Texas, Arizona, and California like we have no control. Why don't we just take over Mexico? And then they can come in here as freely as they want to. That'll just be a number of cities where white folks don't go. It'll be the most segregated cities you ever want to meet, unless even after they take over the land, they'd have to broaden their territory politically and socially, so that you know it's our territory. They'd have to move, you know, their properties and their schools and their educations and their politics into that part of the world to make sure you understand we indeed took over Mexico. It ain't just good enough to take it over with a gun. You gotta actually religiously, spiritually, politically, socially take it over. Okay? We never needed a black president. We never needed anything from white people, black folks, except our freedom. Freedom to be treated 100% American. But there will always be people who oppose that. That's, I mean, that's natural to me. Okay. When I was a child, my mom never sat me down and spoke to me about racism, but I always assumed there were some white people out there that just didn't like me. And when I was a kid, I could walk into your neighborhood and look you in the eye and tell that your parents didn't raise you to love everybody. They raised you to be scared of black people. So I'm going to keep my distance. out of all due respect. But I got thousands, hundreds of white people behind me that like me, that are cool with me. I travel all over the place. These people love me. Back in the days when I did get out of the state of Pennsylvania and within my own state. Pennsylvania is one of the most racist states on the globe. It used to be anyway. They don't call it racism anymore. They just call it protection. You know, they just call it segregation. You know. But like me going to South Hills yesterday. Was it yesterday? Day before yesterday. What the heck is he doing here? You know. But that's never going to go anywhere, black folks. If they don't act like that, you will. And what if the tables had been turned? You mean to tell me that if you had took over this country, you're going to tell me you wouldn't treat other races a certain way? There's just something about taking over this country that would make a black man feel like he has to have political peace, racial harmony and peace. Really? I don't think so. If you had taken over this country, you would have stereotypes about Native Americans as well. You would have stereotypes about white people. You would have stereotypes about everybody that comes into this country except yourself. If the tables were turned, it's no different. I don't really see these white people doing anything outrageously systematic, outrageously, criminal. I don't see it. I see them doing what anybody else would do. Go to any other country. You got countries where everybody look the same. Like these Asian countries. Okay? If they speak to each other and learn each other's language and have peace with each other, it's here in the United States. It ain't over there on the continent of Asia. It's here in the United States that Asian people are connecting with other Asian people that speak a different language. They look like twins, but they're from two different parts of Asia that don't get along. But here in America, they're going to college together, doing Asian studies together, American studies together, studying English language together and other races. They're learning together. And they're becoming good friends. Not so much because they're Asians, but because they're Americans. And they're now, even though they're from two different parts of the world, even though from maybe the same continent, they are now Americans. They are free to connect with one another without it being an act of communism or against communism, or an act of, undercover, being an undercover spy or anything of that nature. Okay? And nobody's going to come behind you and say, hey, I can use you, ma'am, to control Japan, or I can use you to control Taiwan or China, or send messages to Kim Jong-un, or anything. No, we're just Americans enjoying being here. But all my life, like this brother yesterday, I deal with black folks that just are misinformed. You should shut up. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy your job. Go home, go to work. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your church. but love your neighbor as yourself. Ain't that what you read in the Bible? Does that mean just your black neighbor? I don't think so. I think that means everybody. And it also says, pray for those who mistreat you and despisably use you. Mistreat you. I'd say, pray for those that despisably use you and love those and bless those that mistreat you. Right? That's what my Bible says. What's yours say? What's your Bible say? And you can't say it's not talking to black folks, because the Bible is probably 95% black. But again, not your Bible. That doesn't make it your Bible. They was brown like you, but they wasn't you. They was brown like you, but they wasn't you. If you know anything about history, they was brown like you, but they wasn't you. They were Jews. They were Israelites. Okay? Ethiopians. Hebrews. They weren't that far. They were more related to each other than they are related to your black behind. As they were brown exactly like you. And I do believe you came from them more than you come from Africa. I believe you came from them more than you came from Africa. I think there's more blood in Israel for black people than there is in Africa. I think there's more blood in the areas, I believe there's more blood in the Arab nations, Indian nations, than there is in Africa for black people. I believe there's more blood, there's more related blood in, all the brown skinned nations for black folks. Africa being the least, being the smallest amount of blood, especially today. And Africans don't like us. They don't. And one of the things that scares me, I had that problem just this week, where you think that, somebody's a nice person, and then they look for an opportunity to speak down to you because they've always had these issues with black folks. And so I'm talking to a friend and I'm telling him my problem. He had worse problems with the same dude. But this dude, by many, many, many white people, is considered perfect. Awesome. His picture is on the wall. He made the papers. Okay. There's a lot of people in this country that'll be faster to call you the N-word than white people will. Okay? And the white people that you really need to be afraid of is the white people that will tell other white people that they're racist. And the white people that act dumb when they see white people being racist towards you right in front of them. They act like it didn't happen. They act like that person shouldn't apologize. They should apologize for him, and in the same sentence, make you feel sorry that you called it racism. That's the kind of white people I'm not too crazy about. That's the kind of white people I'm not too crazy about, because when black folks act that way towards them around me. I'm very quick to put everybody in their proper place verbally, okay, real quick, without hating anybody. I don't let no black folks come around me and talk no white crap to me. When everybody here loves them, treats them like gold. What do you mean, bro? What are you talking about? Don't come to me with this crap. If you was really in a racist situation, you'd be afraid to talk that crap knowing you outnumbered by white people. Or if you feel that way, if you feel like you're outnumbered by white people, you'd be afraid to talk that crap. You know you would. Don't come to me with that. This is my problem with black people. Usually there's not a problem until, and this has been all my life, not a problem until they make it a problem. There's no cops. There's nobody getting shot until a black man conjures it up. There's no racism in this room. Maybe some white people looking at you like you lost your mind. I don't necessarily call it racism. Just because they might be uncomfortable with you, I don't call it racism. Even though they might feel like, you know, ain't nobody saying nothing or identifying themselves or showing why they're here. So grab your children and grab your purse. I don't see nothing wrong with that. They call that white privilege, according to a video I watched just yesterday. That me and the guy that made the video, we just couldn't stop laughing. So it's white privilege when a white woman is on an elevator with a black guy and she grabs your purse. But she's too white to think that a white guy would be crazy enough to assault her in the elevator. Well, he might rape her in the elevator. He ain't gonna really go out, he ain't gonna really rob her. You know. But he might be crazy enough to put that elevator on stop and rape her in the elevator. I give her that. I don't really think he's a sucker for her money or her cards. But some white folks are too dumb to understand the difference. Okay? But let me ask you this. How many black people have gone and snatched purses compared to whites? Oh, whites do it too, but compared to whites. How many blacks have robbed stores? You say, well, all blacks ain't the same. Yeah, but see, your cousins, my cousins, some of y'all so close to this, your little brother or your big brother or your brother that can't stay out of prison. So you know what I'm talking about then. Not about white people. It's about us. Don't tell me about white cops shooting blacks when blacks have shot more whites. When blacks have done more armed robbery. You had your way with these white people like somebody having their way with toys and candy. Don't tell me about cops killing blacks when you kill more blacks every day in the same neighborhood. Sometimes just to go home and watch the news and see yourself on the news without getting caught. Or to hear your story, rather, on the news. And they ain't found you yet. You're not going to deceive me. I love my race because I'm not deceived about it. I love my race because I know that my race is a good race as far as the color of my skin. I love the color of my skin. And not just because I'm a little bit lighter than a lot of my relatives. But I love my brown skin. I love my taste in art, my taste in music. I love things that are naturally given to us from God as black culture. Let me say that again. I love the things that are naturally given to us by God as black culture. He's given white people things that are white culture, and other races things that are their culture. It's not by what you can create, it's what naturally, positively comes out of your blood. Rap music never positively came out of our blood. Gang violence and being a, you being out there with a hoodie on your head all the time, okay? Walking down the street looking like a thug, and then when white people grab your purses and their children and get out of your way, you call it racism. That has nothing to do with your culture, bro. That's you wanting to hate on other people's culture. How many white guys you see walking down the street like that? Now, more white guys do it, and in some ghettos, white people do it just as much as black. I hate to think that they're actually copying off of blacks. I saw these boys yesterday walking down 6th Avenue, downtown Pittsburgh. And I know they're probably good kids. But if I saw them, I'd move to the other side of the street. I just got mugged not too long ago by guys that look just like them. If I saw them coming towards me, I'd move to the other side of the street. I'm pretty sure they're good kids. But they look the part. And it's very, very late at night. Why are you not home? Why are you down here? You ain't shopping? You got nothing to do down here but walk around and laugh and make fun of people. What are you doing here? I'm sure they're good kids. But once I let them get up on me, if they decide to, if they decide to turn around as soon as I walk past them and start walking behind me, it's too late. We have a right to stereotype regardless of race. We have a right to be scared of people, to protect our children from certain people. We have a right to not do certain things and not support certain things, regardless of our race or the race of the person across from us. We have a right to be anti about anything. We have a right to do better than anybody. If I look at you and there's something you do that bugs me and I know it's bad for society, so I decide to make sure I raise my kids not to be like you, that's not racism. That's using you to better my kids. I don't want them to be like you because I know it doesn't work. That's not racism. That's me protecting my children. I don't hate black people. I don't dislike black people. But I sure in hell don't agree with you. 95.99%. I don't agree with you about culture. I don't agree with you about politics. I don't agree with you about black and what it means to be black. I don't agree with you about slavery and Jim Crow and the civil rights movement. I don't agree with you about cops. I just don't agree with you. I just don't agree with you. I don't agree with you about love and raising children. I just don't agree with you about anything, black people. I mean, I can find a person here and there, even a Democrat that's black, that I agree with about, I don't know, maybe two things. But like this guy yesterday, we was agreeing until he started talking about black folks. Like, we're sitting here as victims, and there's all these white people around us. So we're victims. We're only victims because we decided, we got in a room together and we realized we're both black. So now we're victims. We need to talk about racism while white people are walking down the hall. They can hear us. I know you, hey, but I know you into Donald Trump. So how is Trump? What's going on with Trump? Well, and then he starts screaming. All I said was, well, and he starts screaming. Well, don't ask me then, bro. Listen, we don't have to agree. It's okay. You're a black Democrat. I'm a black Republican. But what makes it bad is when you feel that I don't have a right to be different than you. What makes it bad is when you feel that you want to try and make all black people the same. No, I'm not going down the dispensation that you're going through. Okay? I don't have a problem with white people, if that's what it is, being in charge. I don't care if I can predict that when I go into this town, everybody's going to be white. That doesn't bother me. I don't care if I predict that when I go into school, most of the teachers are going to be white. That doesn't bother me. I don't care if the next president of the United States is probably going to be white. I don't care. All I care about is the fact that I am an American. And it's too late in the game for anybody to take that away from me. And I am part of the land of the brave and the free. Okay? And whatever used to be, why is it used to be if it's my problem? So it used to be. Okay, that means it's over. Let it go. I don't hate black people, but I don't agree with you 95.99%. I really don't. I don't care. I don't agree with my family. I don't agree with people that I went to school with, people I go to church with, everywhere I go. When I'm with my family, they say stuff and I zip my mouth. I'm not going to tell them to their face. Stop talking like an idiot. Stop that. I'm not going to tell them that. I'm saying to you now what I won't say to a lot of black people's face. I said something to a guy the other day, and I was so glad when he said, "Man, this conversation is over," because now you're getting, well, you brought me there. Because you sound like an idiot, and I said something that slipped. I didn't mean to say it. I'm just glad I didn't call you the N-word. You sounded so stupid. Well, this conversation's over. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad for it to be over. Because if you're going to hate on Donald Trump, if you're going to hate on white people, if you're going to hate on cops, you got to have something more than just black. That's not a reason. Black. Do it for all of us. If you're going to hate on Trump for everybody, not just black folks. Because the last I checked, it was Mexicans that Trump is trying to keep across the border, on the other side of the border. And it ain't just all Mexicans, it's certain Mexicans. If you believe, with your races behind it, there's a difference between one Mexican group and another. Oh, what? Mexicans can't be diverse? Is that what you're saying? You need to be careful what you say, because when you say things, you're also saying other things. Let me do this one more time. I don't hate my people. I just don't agree with you about hardly anything. 95.99% of the time. Just don't agree with you. Okay? I already know. Maybe I'm making an ass out of myself when I say it. I walk out this door and I meet my neighbor, one of my black neighbors. I can assume that 95.99% we get to talking, I'm not going to agree with what he got to say. Because the minute you start labeling stuff black and claim that somebody got a problem with blacks, without me coming out and saying it to your face, hold up, brother, let me stop you right there. Stop being a black idiot. You got a driver's license just like I do. You're an American just like I'm an American. You got a job, okay? Just like I got a job. You're allowed to quit that job and go get another job just like I am. If you don't like your job, if you think your bosses ain't treating you right. Stop complaining. Stop going around here looking for black people to complain to. And then you wonder why we're always so downgraded and people make clowns out of us. Because that's all we know how to do when we get together is black, 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 black. I applied for this job and now I'm stuck on this job because I'm black. Like I can't just quit and get another job or resign and get another job. Okay? Oh, I don't like my car. I bought this car and I'm stuck with this car because I'm black. But I bought it. I chose it. And what brought this video on is I listened to a video today about Brandon Tatum explaining why he's married to a white woman. Okay? And I'm basically saying the same thing that he's said. He said that over the years, he's become in disagreement with black folks more and more and more and more and more and more. His wife is not about the color of her skin. The situation with his wife is more about him and his wife being able to agree. They are in the same culture. A culture that a lot of black folks basically stay out of. And that is the culture of putting family and morals and love for everybody before politics. I am DeRoy Cruz. I am your life applications officer. Thank you for watching, and I hope you like this video. And the comments are open, so you can leave your trash on there, and I'll just delete it. You know, I know you're going to come on there and just say the opposite of what I'm just saying. You feel that for me to say that I don't agree with black folks to you is the same thing as saying that I hate black folks. If I like you, I agree with you, but you got to give me a reason to like you. You got to define what that is. Okay? You do. Okay? But I don't. And the number of black people that all believe the same things and that just, you know, what you need to do as a black person, think of yourself as coming over to this country in 2022. All by yourself. You got no black people to back you up. You got no white people to back you up. You're just by yourself. Just you. You come over here and you see how the world is. You didn't know whether or not you went through slavery or not. You came over here from you woke up one day and you're in America. Start all over fresh. You woke up one day and you happen to be living in the United States. Look at everybody as face value. Look at everybody as the benefit of the doubt. Just look for the truth in everybody and everything. And do the math. And you'll find out that racism is a trick. People hating on black people and just wanting to shoot us all is a trick. Black culture, okay? The whole subject, even the term black community is a trick. It's a trick. There is no black community. Why are we always talking about the black community, but we're not talking about nobody else's community? It's just everybody racist towards us. Nobody's a victim but us. Yeah, sure, other people are victims, but we're really victims. Okay? Get out of here. No. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm out. God bless you.